Very good afternoon to everyone. This is Vijay Raj Purohit, heading CS department. So today we are having a session, one interactive session on building LinkedIn and GitHub profiles for better career opportunities by Gajendra Deshpande sir. And this event is organized by AS CSI student branch, and it's a hands-on session basically, and you will get exposure how you can create an account in LinkedIn as well as GitHub. Both are very important with respect to the career prospects, because few days back when there was a head of the department's meeting, many heads were telling that they are getting interview letters for their students through LinkedIn profiles. So even when I inquired with many of my friends and other college colleagues, same thing is happening. So many students are getting interview letters based on their LinkedIn profiles, as well as GitHub is also one more important entity wherein you can store lots of information, or you can retrieve information and do lots of activities related to programming, or maybe it is with respect to data storage or retrieval. So many operations are possible. And we can, another thing is LinkedIn actually reflects how actually you are involved totally into software related activities, as well as it helps you to know how to build a relationship with others. LinkedIn will help you to create relationship between various entities, like you can build networking with various set of peoples. That will help you a lot in your future, all your future endeavors. So today Gajendra Deshpande sir will be teaching you how to build LinkedIn profile as well as GitHub profiles. That will help you to build a efficient or most effective profile with respect to your future career. And after this particular session, then maybe we are planning to conduct one competition that will help you to build good profiles. And what we are doing is, using these profiles, we are going to select the best profile, and we will award those students with coupons. So I welcome you all for this particular session. Enjoy the session, learn and utilize this particular opportunity to create good LinkedIn as well as GitHub profiles. I hand over the session to Gajendra Deshpande sir. He will be taking you through all the activities related to creation of GitHub as well as LinkedIn profiles. In between, he'll be explaining you how actually competition will be conducted, how actually you can be the beneficiary with respect to the prizes. Thank you very much once again.
Hello everyone, so I will be making a small change to the video. So basically I am going to disappear from the video. I would like to just present the slides, because that will give you the better visibility. So I hope my voice is clear, I am audible, and my slides are visible. So you can comment on the YouTube, I can see your comments, and based on that I can continue my talk. Yeah, thank you. So today I will be presenting a talk on building LinkedIn and GitHub profiles for better career opportunities. Uh, yeah, so GitHub and LinkedIn are two great platforms where you can showcase your work. So let me start with my presentation. So today's agenda is that I'm going to cover three topics. One is about GitHub profiles, second one is about LinkedIn profiles, and third one is about CSI student branch at GIT. So this is the first talk which is hosted under the banner of CSI and ACE. So about CSI I will cover at the end of this talk. So coming to the topic of GitHub profiles. So GitHub is a development platform so inspired by the way you work. So from open source to business, you can host and review the code, manage projects, and build software alongside 50 million developers. So that means there are more than 50 million plus developers on GitHub platform. So GitHub brings teams together to work through problems, move ideas forward, and learn from each other along the way. So GitHub is the home to the world's largest community of developers and their projects. So GitHub is a collaborative version control software. So you need to understand first what is meant by version control software. So I will take an example here. Let's assume that you are developing a software and we know that we are not genius people, right? We are going to make modifications to the software, okay? And many times it happens that whatever modifications we make to the software, they are not permanent, or sometimes we may have to go back to the previous version of the software, okay? So if you don't use version control software, then you need to maintain the multiple copies of the same software on the hard disk of your computer or a laptop. But if you go for version control software, you need not have to make the, or you need not have to maintain the multiple copies of the software. So just by a click of a button you can go back to the version of software which was working earlier. Say for example, whenever you are going to make changes, you are going to name it, right? So there is a standard naming convention whenever you are releasing a version of the software. So you need to mention major version, minor version, and so on, okay? So let's say for example, if your software was working in the version 1.2.1 and you have made some changes and you have released a version 1.2.2, but you discover that there are some problems in 1.2.2, it is breaking the entire software. So in that case you want to go back to version 1.2.1. so from that point you can again start making the changes and you can come up with a better version of software, version 1.2.2, okay? So it makes maintenance of the software very easily and it can do it very efficiently. GitHub is not the only software, there is one more software called as SVN, okay? But GitHub is available online as well as offline, okay? So in most of the companies they use enterprise version of the GitHub where they upload the source code on the cloud. If the project is too confidential or if it is in the initial versions, then they may just upload it on their network, on their local network, okay? So GitHub started in the year 2008, but it is now owned by Microsoft. It is written in Ruby, ECMAScript, Go and C language. So this is the website, or this is the interface of GitHub website, right? So to visit or to create a profile, you need to visit a website called as www.github.com. And you can see here on the right hand side there are two options, one is sign in button and second one is sign up button. So if you don't have the profile, then you need to go for sign up button and create the profile for yourself, okay? Once you create the profile, you need to log into the system. Okay, so GitHub is like, you can say, Facebook of developers. Now there are some benefits of using GitHub. So first benefit is that it makes it easy to contribute to your open source projects. Note here that in open source world, GitHub has got lot of respect. So if you come up with your own library, if you come up with your own package, if you develop your own package, or if you develop your own module, it is better that you upload the entire source code to GitHub. Okay, I will tell the benefits of it later. Okay, so you can see that most of the open source projects source code is available on GitHub. Let's say, for example, Julia programming language. The entire source code of Julia programming language is available on GitHub. You can go to the Julia programming languages repository, right? Study its code structure, study its code, and you can start making contributions there. Or it may inspire you to come up with another language. The next is documentation. Now note here that when we say documentation, then there are different aspects. So you develop a software, then you may upload the software and installation instructions along with it on GitHub, or you may develop tutorials and upload it on GitHub. Okay, so GitHub is used by people for various purposes. Okay, say for example, some people use it for uploading documentation, some people use it for uploading source code, some people use it for creating static websites. So if you don't have any dynamic requirements, then you can host uh, your website on GitHub. For example, if it is developed using only client-side technologies such as HTML, CSS and JavaScript, you can always host it on GitHub without paying any money. Then there are people who have developed tutorials using GitHub, and the documentation or the tutorial of programming language are also available on GitHub. So again, if I have to take the example of Julia programming language, so its entire tutorial is made available on GitHub. Okay, and when we say GitHub, the major term we deal with is contribution. So contribution need not be only in terms of program or source code. You can also write documentation, or you can also write tutorial, or you can also write notes, and you can upload it on the GitHub. That is possible. The next benefit is showcase your work. So as we are discussing, so whatever work you do, you have to upload it on the GitHub, be it documentation or source code or package or library. So what happens is that recruiters, they visit your profile and see what kind of work you are doing. Okay, GitHub also provides a facility for recruiters to search for people. So I will show how they search and what criteria they use later. The next benefit is Markdown. Markdown is like your HTML. So in HTML you have tags, right, to format the content. So if you want to make text bold, you use bold tag. If you want to make text italic, you use italic tag. If you want to create hyperlinks, you use anchor tag, right? If you want to put hyperlink to any other file, say such as PDF, again you use anchor tag, right? You can also insert images in HTML. So similarly, we have some facility here in GitHub that is known as Markdown, which is almost similar to HTML. Okay, only thing is we don't use the tags everywhere here. So Markdown syntax is much simpler compared to HTML. So using Markdown, you can format the content, you can update the appearance, or you can improve the look and feel of your content or tutorial, whatever you are updating or uploading on the GitHub. Then GitHub is a repository, so please note this point. It's a repository, so that means it allows you to store your files and folders related to your project. Then the next point is very important: track changes in your code across versions. So I have already taken the example at the beginning of this talk, right? So during development there will be definitely different versions of the same software, so depending on the functionality you can go back or go to the next version of the software. And you can also track the changes. If something is breaking your project, then you can always discard it and you can keep only that code, that part of the code which is working fine. The next is integration options. So GitHub allows you to integrate several other softwares into GitHub. Let's say, for example, if you are a third semester student or if you are a fifth semester student, so if you are learning especially the web programming lab and software design lab, we are introducing GitHub Classroom to everyone, because both of these subjects have mini projects there. So you have to create team and you have to upload your source code there. So some people may not be having the infrastructure to run the code. So in that case, what we have done is we have integrated REPL with GitHub. So REPL stands for Read, Evaluate, Print Loop. So there is a website called as repl.it. So if you go to that website, you will be able to execute your source code online. Say for example, if you are doing a project in Python, you can go to REPL website and type the code and execute there. You can execute Julia code there, you can execute C++ code there. So it is possible. So integration with REPL we have already done. So similar to that, there are lots of other things. For example, you can also integrate Arduino here with respect to GitHub, right? There is something called the Arduino Hub that we can integrate with GitHub. Plus there are many other options. So depending on your requirement, you can integrate those softwares into GitHub. So if you want more information, if you want more details about these points, you can visit the URL mentioned here. Then next, so once you create a profile, so since you are all computer science students, so it may not be necessary to show you how to create an account. It's very simple. So you just need to click on sign up button, enter the information whatever is asked there. For example, if they ask you to enter your username or password, then email ID, right, and some verification code, only that much. So once you enter that, you will get a verification link. Once you click on verification link, you are a member of GitHub community. Then on this slide we are showing the content of GitHub profile. So first one is the username, then second one is the current employer. So on the left hand side you see the current employer. Then next, it also shows the location. So this location is also very important. The next is the email address of a person. If you want to contact that person, then you can contact that person using the email address mentioned here. But again, user has a choice. If he wants to mention, he can mention, otherwise it's fine. The next is the information about the websites which they have chosen to display. So here the website means it's the link to their personal website. Okay, so you cannot list more here. So it is better that you only stick to your work. If you have developed a personal website or a blog, then you can provide a link here. Even that will be visible. So recruiters, what they will do is, even they will visit this link and they will see what other activities you are doing, because it may not be possible for you to upload everything on GitHub profile. So you need a personal website, so that can be created using GitHub Pages. Okay, and there are many ready-made themes available, so you can use those themes and you can develop your personal website. Okay. The next is number of followers. So all this information whatever I have discussed, it is available on the left hand side of the GitHub profile. So note here that if you have got 2 to 10 followers, then it is good, it is considered as good. If you have got 11 to 25, then it is considered as great. Presently I have only 20 followers, so hopefully uh, those who are attending this webinar, they will start following me on my GitHub profile and they will move me from great to exceptional category. So if there are 26 to 75 followers, then it is considered as exceptional. That means the community knows you. If you are active in Python community, then Python community knows you. If you are active in Julia community, then Julia community knows about you. So if you have got 26 to 75 followers. Okay, the next is 75 plus followers, that is the highest. Now this is a dangerous point, so please keep in mind here that you create a GitHub profile, try to get some followers, but don't cross 75 plus. Okay, at this moment, because it is known fact that if you got more followers, then it is hard to recruit that person, because he may demand more package or he may have his own demands other than package. Maybe he may need some flexibility in the work, or he may be working on his own projects. Okay, so recruiters, they generally stick to followers between 2 and you can say up to 75. Okay, it's not that they will not recruit persons above 75 followers, but it is difficult to recruit those people. That is the idea. So that's why they generally try to avoid those people who are having followers more than 75 because of many constraints and many other factors. The next important thing is contributions that the person has made to the site. So in this section, what you are going to do is you are going to upload the keywords, you are going to mention the languages you have worked, and it is also you can also pin some repositories in this section. The next is repositories. So repositories are the directories or folders where you are going to upload your source code. Now note here that in case of repositories, you have got two types of repositories. One, your own repositories which you have created, where you will be uploading or you might have uploaded the project source code which you have developed. Then second one is the copied or forked repositories. Okay, so I have got varied interests. Maybe I may like some cybersecurity package or cybersecurity library or its tutorial, so I want to study it, so I'm going to fork it. So when I fork it, its copy will be created in my repository. But the problem here is even that count will be shown in my repositories link. So don't fork too many repositories. This is the important guideline for all of you. Okay, don't fork too many repositories. If you want to fork, yeah, you can fork, but up to say you can fork only limited number of repositories. Of course, technically you can fork any number of repositories, but if you fork thousands of repositories, then it becomes difficult for the recruiter to differentiate between your work and the forked repositories. So that's why the guideline here is that don't fork too many repositories, only fork essential repositories. So one more guideline what you can do is you need not have to fork the repositories at all. So instead you create one repository. Okay, instead in that you create a readme file, right? In that readme file include the links of all the interesting URLs on the GitHub, whichever you like. So if you are interested in cyber security, then you may visit some, or like or you might have liked some projects related to cyber security, some libraries related to cyber security. So just copy that URL into your readme file. Okay, so whenever you want to access it, just go to this readme file, click on the link, and it will take you to that particular repository. So in this way you can avoid forking too many repositories. So the solution is create a single repository, and that repository should have a readme file, and in that readme file include all the links whichever you like. Okay, yeah, so this is my profile. So you can see here on the left hand side my photo is visible, then my name is visible. Below my name my username is visible. Okay, so my username is GC Deshpande. So if you search in GitHub using GC Deshpande, it will take you to my profile. Then below that some keywords are listed, so you can list whatever you want. Maybe you can list your designation also here, or what things you do, what things interest you with respect to coding. So you can mention the things here, or you can also mention those keywords which help recruiters to find you. The next is the link follow. If you want to follow me, you can click on this button. Then below that you can see here there are three numbers it is displaying. So one is the followers. So I have got 20 followers and I am following 26 people. Then after that I have marked 32 repositories as star. Okay, this is an interesting concept again. So when somebody does the project, when somebody develops the project, say for example a programming language such as Julia, so what those people have done is they have uploaded the entire source code on the GitHub repository. So I like Julia, so what I do is I visit that profile and I mark it as a star. Okay, so number of stars matters to open source projects. So more the stars, it is better for that particular project. Okay, so that gives some idea to the developers of that particular language or that particular package, how many supporters they have. Maybe that may even help them to gain some grants which can help them to take their project forward. Okay, so this is the simplest contribution you can make to any open source project. If you like any open source project, just visit that repository and click on star button. Then next you can see here I have displayed my institution's name, then I have mentioned my location. Then if somebody wants to see my email address, then they need to sign in. So without sign in they cannot see my email account. Then there are some highlights. So my account is a pro account and it's also Arctic Code Vault contributor badge. So two badges are there with my profile. So I made to get few more badges like developer badges. So for that I need to sign in into developer program. Maybe I may have to complete some formalities. So even you will be able to do that. Then on the right hand side you can see here that on the top we have got four links. One is overview, then second one is repositories, then third one is projects, then fourth one is packages. Okay, so in overview there is some description which is mentioned here. So it is about my work, my short biography is included here. Then below that some pinned repositories have been included. So what is this pinned repositories is, you can see here I have got 29 repositories. Okay, but out of 29 I have got only few major works. I don't want to display everything. So you can consider these are my best works, so I want to highlight my best works. Okay, so in that case I can pin them here. Okay. The next is the projects. You can start any open source projects. You can, when you start, the status will be open, right? When you complete the work, the status will be closed. Then after that, the packages, I have not developed any packages, so it is 0. Okay, so you can upload your repository as a project. Okay, you can create a project, and in that project you can specify a link to repository. That is possible. Okay, or you can create a fresh repository and link it to the project. Even that is possible. Now, how recruiters search for candidates on GitHub? So first thing is they need to create a account on GitHub. So enterprise users have access to more information compared to free users. Then they are going to search based on 3 parameters. First one is language, second one is location, and third one is followers. Note here that when I say language, it is the programming language. Okay, then the location, then based on number of followers. So as we have discussed in the previous slide that there are categories of GitHub users based on the number of followers. Okay, so based on the work, based on the experience, the recruiter may want to filter the candidate based on the followers. More number of followers means that person is more popular and he has done more contributions to the open source community. Okay, so based on these 3 parameters, they are going to filter the candidates. Then once you search, say for example, I want to search for Python developers and location is Bangalore, and I want to list those profiles only where the developer or the contributor has up to 20 followers. Okay, then once you get the list, note here that in this list you will not get only about details about the users, plus details about the projects are also visible. So again you can filter them based on users and languages. Then next, the point will be active on other platforms like LinkedIn, Stack Overflow, and Twitter. See, this is also very important aspect. So you are very good developer, you are a great developer, you develop the software and upload it on the GitHub, but how the world will come to know about it? Okay, so we don't have a concept of connections in GitHub. Okay, so which can notify others when you upload something, right? So that's why you need to upload the updates about your package, about your library or module you have developed, or about your project on the social media platforms, especially Twitter and LinkedIn. Okay, so that is very important. And also be active on Stack Overflow. If somebody is using your package, if somebody is using your software, then they may face some problems, so you need to address those queries on Stack Overflow. Okay, so even that will give you some visibility. And note here that your recruiters are going to perform first 3 steps to find the candidates, but they will get only their technical details. So what they will do is, once they find a suitable candidate, they will go for background check, and they are interested in what other things the candidate does. So in that case, they will visit your LinkedIn profile, they will try to find out your Stack Overflow profile, then they will try to find out your Twitter profile, and they will see your posts and tweets, what kind of things you are doing on these platforms. Okay, so the bonus point is that how to create GitHub profile as a resume, how to project it. Okay, so let me show you. It is not a straightforward thing. There is a small trick involved here. So if you follow it, then only you will be able to create your GitHub resume. Yeah, fine. So there will be some delay whenever I switch between the softwares. That's fine. So here what I will do here is, before creating the GitHub resume, I will show you how you can search for, or how recruiters search for candidates. So let me first specify the first parameter, that is language. So I will specify language as Julia. Then I will specify location as India. Then I will specify followers greater than 20. Now note here that you can use your relational operators here. So it is not just the range, you can specify using double dots. You can also use greater than and less than operators. So I'm going to search between all GitHub. So you can see here, okay, so it's not clear. Let me increase the font size here. Yeah, so you can see the query here. So I have specified language as Julia, then location as India, and followers greater than 20. So you can see here in search results, it is showing that there are 3 users, right? One is Avikpal, then next is Tanmay, and third one is Amit. So it has listed only 3 people. Okay. So if you change the location, then you will get different number of users. So now you can see here, now we have got 8 users. Okay, so let me also change the language now from Julia to Python. Okay, so now you can see here I'm getting 825 users. But now if you look on the left hand side, so there are some links which are mentioned. So for example, repositories, code, commits, issues, packages, and so on. So if you want to go for more filters, then you can just select users. So users are only 825. Then similarly, if you want to select language here, so you can select the language here. Let's say for example, if I select Ruby now, then there are only 452 users. Okay, then you can also sort here. There are several other options. For example, best match, most followers, fewest followers, then most recently joined, least recently joined, most repositories, fewest repositories. Now I want to find out among these 452 users who has most followers. Now in this case, you can see here Andrew has most followers. Okay, so now let me search for my profile here. Yeah, so I got my link. So now you can see here, this is the resume part, whatever description you are seeing, hi there and about myself. So this is the resume part of my link. So you cannot directly create this section. So there is a small trick involved, and that trick is that once you create an account, you should go to repositories link. Okay, follow these steps carefully. Okay, you should go to repositories link and create a new repository here. Yeah, I need to sign in first, then only I will be able to create my account. So another advice is that whenever you are creating your GitHub profiles, create it using personal email account. Never create it using professional accounts or organizational email accounts. Okay, first of all, GitHub will not allow you to create accounts using your organizational email accounts. Okay, second thing is that if you want to create GitHub account using organizational email IDs, then you need to go for enterprise plan. Then the third point why I'm stressing is that you are not going to stay in one organization permanently, so you keep on changing the companies, right? So in that case you will lose the information. So it is always better that you create your GitHub account using your personal email ID. Okay, so now I will go to repositories link here. So you can see here on the right hand side, you can see the green button called as new. So click on that, right? And here you need to mention the repository name. So here is the trick. The trick is that the repository name should match your username. Okay, it should be same as your username. Say for example, my username is GC Deshpande. So my repository name will be GC Deshpande here. If I have to enable resume option for my GitHub profile, I cannot create it because I have already done it. Okay, so you can see the warning message here, the repository already exists on this account, but you can also see the message it is showing. It says that you found a secret. Okay, so GC Deshpande slash GC Deshpande is a special repository that you can use to add readme.md file to your GitHub profile. So it is in this readme.md file you are going to update the content. Okay, then one more thing what you should be doing here is you should set it as public repository, not as private repository, because whatever information you are going to upload here, it should be visible to everyone. Okay, so whatever description you were saying about myself, that was created using this procedure. So I had created a repository which had the same name as of my username, and in that repository readme file was there, so my content was updated in that readme file. Okay, so set it as public, then click on create repository button. So right now it is disabled because repository name already exists. Now If I change it to something else, then you can see here it is not displaying the secret code. Okay, it is not displaying the secret message. So since I have already created the repository, so I will go back to the repository which I had created, my secret repository. So you can see here the first one, GC Deshpande, it's my repository name, and I have written the description that my resume. So I will click on that. So now you can see here there is a readme file, and on the right hand side you can also see that the message it is displaying, it says that it's a special repository. Okay, so now this content is visible. Now let me edit it and show the template which it generates. And to make it interesting, you can include these sections. Now you can see here, when you create this special repository, it is going to create the readme.md file along with this content. Note here that it is mentioned in the comments. You should remove this comment and you can start mentioning here, I am currently working on. Okay, so you can write about your current project on which you are working. If you are working on machine learning project, or if you are working on blockchain project, then you can mention here how much information you want to provide. It is left to you, right? The next is, I am currently learning. If you are learning a new technology, if you are learning a new language, right, that you can mention here. Then if you are looking for some collaborations, then you can mention here that too, I am looking to collaborate on, say, deep learning, okay, or blockchain, or cyber security, or red teaming, or incident handling, and so on. Then next, if you need help with some technology, you can also mention that I need help regarding so and so technology, I need help regarding TensorFlow, I need help regarding my LinkedIn profile or GitHub profile, right? Then if you are expert in some things, then you can also write ask me about. So I can write ask me about Python and Julia and cyber security maybe. Then how to reach me, so you can mention your email ID, that is the most recommended way, or your personal website URL. If you're okay with it, you can mention your mobile number also. Then pronouns are very important. So many conferences in the West, they prefer you to mention pronouns. Okay, so for males it will be he/him, for females it will be she/her, and for other genders there are other pronouns, so those things can be specified. Then fun fact, so if there is some fun fact with respect to you, you can mention here, otherwise fine. So it is not compulsory that you have to mention everything, or you have to mention these only. Okay, so you can choose among these, you can add, you can remove, the choice is left to you. So basically whatever thing you want to mention, that you can mention here. Okay, so when you update your GitHub profile with this information, your GitHub resume will be ready. Okay, note here that you are not including any unnecessary information. Okay, so I hope it is clear now how recruiters search your GitHub profiles and how you can create your GitHub resume. Okay, so to create GitHub resume, I will repeat the step once again. You have to create a repository, and the repository name should be same as your username. Okay, once you create a repository, you will get your secret repository and with a readme file. Then you need to mention, or you need to edit the readme file in order to display the content. Okay, so once it is done, your content from readme file will appear here. Okay, so this is about GitHub. Now let me move to next concept, that is LinkedIn. Okay, so next point is LinkedIn profiles. So we know that LinkedIn is not Facebook. So please remember this point, it is very important. Okay, so LinkedIn is a professional networking site, whereas Facebook is a social networking site. Okay. So don't post your vacation photos on LinkedIn. Okay, photographer can post because that is his profession. Okay, he will post the photos about his profession. Okay, so you have to post only that content which is related to your profession in LinkedIn. Okay, other things you can post it on Facebook. Okay, so LinkedIn, as we know, it's the world's largest professional network with 706 plus million users in more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. Now note here that you should also understand the vision and mission of the LinkedIn company. Okay, so the vision says that create the economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. So that's why you can see here those who have got LinkedIn account, they have options related to creating economic opportunities for every members. Okay, for example, you will find the links to courses, you will find the links to recommendations or endorsements, right? Even that will enhance the visibility of your profile, right? And also you will find the job postings. LinkedIn suggests you the jobs based on the things you have mentioned in your LinkedIn account. Okay, the mission is connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. So we will see how LinkedIn makes professionals more productive and successful. So what people do in order to showcase that they are productive and successful. So LinkedIn started in the year 2002 and it was acquired by Microsoft in 2016. Okay, so both of our softwares, GitHub and LinkedIn, they are now under the banner of Microsoft. Now LinkedIn has got some benefits. Now the first is that recruiters and human resource professionals are on LinkedIn. Note here that this is very important point. So these recruiters, talent acquisition team members, then HR professionals, hiring managers or even project managers, they are on LinkedIn. Even many entrepreneurs are on LinkedIn. So when you post your success story, when you keep on posting your achievements on LinkedIn, you will be noticed by these people. Okay, and if you have enabled open to work option for your profile picture, then they may contact you, and if there is a need without that also they may contact you. Okay, so you don't have this tag open to work in other social network like Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, because there the purpose is different, here the purpose is different. Okay, so if you want to attract recruiters, HR professionals, hiring managers to your profile, then you should fill all the relevant details, correct details in your profile, in your LinkedIn profile. The next important thing is LinkedIn has got extensive job listings. Okay, so many recruiters they post their job requirements on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn basically does a kind of match between employees and the employers. Okay, so when you update your profile with all the skills, right, when there is a job posting related to your skill, LinkedIn suggests that there are so many job postings based on your profile. Okay, now you need to be little bit careful here, because there are many fraud people who will be posting the jobs. Okay, so one incident that few days back LinkedIn suggested me that there was a opening in IIT Kanpur for the post of assistant professor. So I was just interested in that profile, so I had visited that link. So when I visited that link, it took me to some other website. So it took me to some agency website who were acting like a middleman for some other institutes. So it was nowhere related to IIT Kanpur. Okay, so you should ensure that the job openings which are mentioned, it belongs to the it belongs to that organization only. For example, if you see that there is opening in Microsoft, if you see this notification, when you click on that notification, it should take you to the Microsoft website, not to other websites. If you see that there are openings in IIT Kanpur, and if you click on that, it should take you to the IIT Kanpur website, not to other websites. If it is taking you to some other websites, then it's a fake advertisement. Okay, you should not go to those links, and you should not fall in the trap. Okay, the next thing is receive and give endorsements and testimonials. So testimonials are nothing but recommendations. Okay, so endorsement is that you are going to list your skills you are good at. So if you are good at Python, you write that you are good in Python, you add that skill. If you are good in Julia, you add Julia. If you are good in .NET, you add .NET. If you are good in Java, add Java. If you are good in public speaking, write public speaking skill there. If you are good in management, write management there. So the people who know you in your network, okay, and if they feel that, and if they know that you are good in a particular skill, they will endorse you. Okay, when they endorse you, it will show the count how many people have endorsed you for a particular skill. Java 90 people have endorsed, C 50 people have endorsed. Okay, Python 99 people have endorsed. 99 is the maximum number. Then testimonials are nothing but the recommendations. It's a brief description about your work. Okay, it's kind of a appreciation for the work you have done. So basically it is good if this testimonial has been written by your professors or project guide or your team member or your manager. Okay, or the best part is if your client writes it, then that's the best part. Then make important business connections. Now note here that in LinkedIn, to connect everyone, it is not compulsory that you know that person personally. Okay, if you feel that you can make a good business connection, just send them the connection request. So if they feel that they can also connect to you and they can also benefit from your connection, they will accept your connection request. Okay, the next is join professional groups that include like-minded people. So there are more professional groups on LinkedIn compared to other social media networks such as Facebook. Okay, because Facebook is being used for some other purpose, but here the on LinkedIn the discussion will be related to, it is more related to your profession or your interest. Okay, so you should join professional groups on LinkedIn. Then reach out to the people who are viewing your profile. Now note here that when you are searching your profile or when you're searching somebody's profile, it also shows the information that people have also viewed so and so profile. So it may interest you, or it might have interested some other person and they have visited your profile. Okay, when they visit your profile, that means that you are related to their work, or maybe they are interested in your work. Okay, so when somebody visits a profile, you can also visit back their profile, and if you feel that you can make a good connection, then you can send a connection request or send them the message. Okay, even when you are making a connection request, you can send them the message, hi, you have visited my profile and I would like to connect with you because it seems that we can work or we can share information on so and so topic. So some introduction, so you can mention and you can send the connection request. Okay, so it is not necessary that you should know the person personally, but note here that don't send too many requests at a time, otherwise LinkedIn will send you the warning, or it may block you also for violating their policies. The next, updating an online resume is easier than continuously updating the paper resume. Okay, so note here that LinkedIn is like an online resume. So whatever things are there in your resume, they are there in LinkedIn. For example, you can add your experience here, you can add the courses which you have done, you can add the certifications you have done. Okay, and it also includes the link to the verification website. Okay, you can add endorsements, you can add testimonials, plus you can add some other things which interest you. For example, if you have filed some patents, you can add it here. And one more best part of LinkedIn is that if your LinkedIn is updated, then within a single click you can generate your resume. Okay, that's also best part. So if you don't have a resume, or if you have missed it, or if it is misplaced, if you don't have the access, if you don't have the soft copy in your mail, then you can just visit your LinkedIn profile, generate your resume and send it. Okay, it will work only if it is updated. So keep your LinkedIn profile updated. Then next, establish your expertise by using LinkedIn content platform. Now note here that LinkedIn allows you to post content on the timeline. Okay, so you can write some small blog posts, or you can write about your professional experience. Okay, you can write your interview experience, or whatever technical experience, or a small tutorial. Okay, and you can share it on LinkedIn. Okay, when you share the general information, what happens is many people will like it in your network, and even people in your friends network, your connections network will like it. So likewise, it will go viral up to certain level. So that means it will reach more number of people. So when it reaches more number of people, more people will connect with you. So when more people will connect with you, your network grows. And in modern times, please remember one statement: your network is your net worth. Okay, I am repeating this point again: your network is your net worth. Okay, so people in your network will get you better opportunities. So that's why I have good number of people in your connections, and have good people, and try to maintain relationship with those people. It will get you opportunities. Then next, read news from your connections. Okay, this is also very important. So reading news from your connections means what? Somebody is sharing their experience, somebody is sharing their expertise. Okay, somebody is sharing the useful information. So you can just read that, and even if you like it, if you feel that okay, some person is sharing more content related to your work, you can also try to connect to that person. Then research other businesses. Now this is again important statement, right? So let's assume that you are a professional, you are working in cloud area, right? You have got very good profile, and you are working, let's assume that you are working in Google Cloud. It is better to watch for the work of Microsoft Azure or DigitalOcean or some other cloud service provider. So if their work interests you, if you want to make a switch, you can always switch. Or if something interests you and if you are in a position to implement it in your company, if you can incorporate some things, some ideas into your project, you can include it. So that will give you more again growth opportunities. The next is introduce others to your work. So if you have written the book, then post about it. If you have a website, then post about your website. If you have a blog, then you may be posting some content on your blog frequently. So post the link to your blog or your blog article. So again, it will get you more connections. Okay, so these are the few benefits and guidelines of LinkedIn profiles. So these are in general. Then as a student, there are several benefits of having LinkedIn profile. So the most important thing students want is a job after their graduation. Okay, so if your profile is complete, if your LinkedIn profile is complete, right, then you start getting the email alerts for the job openings, and you can apply there. You may also get internship alerts. Okay, so they don't make a differentiation between internship and a job, right? So if your profile is complete, if you have mentioned all your skills correctly, you start getting the email alerts or notifications on LinkedIn. So apply there in order to get a job or internship position. Then connecting with professionals. Now note here that as a student, it is very important to connect with professionals. Okay, so nobody will actually decline your request. Okay, most of the people will accept your request. If you feel that some person can help you, you can write a small intro there. I am so and so student studying in engineering of so and so college. I am working on so and so project, I need help. So request them to accept your connection request, and you start the interaction. Okay, when you start the interaction, you build a connection, you also build a good relationship with that person. And if that person is impressed by your work, then okay, if that person is interested by your work, he may suggest you some things, right, some job openings, or if there are openings in his company, he may refer you. Okay, so try to connect with professionals. It's not that you have to connect with professionals only after you become professional. Okay, it is better when you are a student, if you connect with professionals. Then conducting company research. Now note here that as a student, you need to research about companies. If something interests you, for example, if you are interested in cyber security or security related things, then you can visit the company websites like EC Council or Norton or McAfee or FireEye, and see what kind of work they are doing. Okay, so that will give you some insights. Okay, that will give you some idea regarding what they are doing and what you should do. Okay, so when you will come to know that, when you become aware of it, that is what you should do, then you can develop those required skills and plan and target for particular companies for recruitment. So if you are lacking in some technology, try to enroll for some course. If you are not aware of some programming language, say for example Python, and if that company is using Python extensively, then learn Python. So that will help you to reduce the gap between your future employer and you. Then getting recommendations. Okay, so I always suggest you that do some projects and get the recommendations from your colleagues, from your team members, or your clients. So more the recommendations, that means more people are endorsing you, that means there is a more visibility to your profile. Okay, so more number of recommendations will get you more opportunities, but get the genuine recommendations. Don't ask all your classmates to write recommendations for you. Okay, they will be of no use. Then letting companies find you. Now note here that when your profile is complete, right, companies are also searching for talented people. As I have already told you that hiring managers, talent acquisition team members, entrepreneurs, right, startup owners, they are on Facebook and they are in search of good talent. Okay, and note here that when you are writing the description of your LinkedIn profile, you should write, or you should include those keywords which recruiters are interested in. Okay, for example, if a web developer job profile expects you to have a knowledge of mean stack or merge stack, then mention those keywords in your profile. If they say that you need good communication skill and you should have a knowledge of GitHub, mention that in your description. Okay, so matching is done based on keywords. There is no semantic search yet. Okay, so it is only keyword based search. So profiles are matched when keywords are matched. Okay, so see in which job profile you are interested in. You, for that, if you are interested in web developer or AI engineer or machine learning engineer, visit websites like indeed.com, then naukri.com, search for the job profile you are interested in. It shows the description about a job profile, then see the keywords there. Okay, and even that will give you some indication where you stand, which skills you know, which tools you know, and which you need to learn. Okay, that's also a good starting point. Okay, take that as a reference point and develop the required skills, right? And if you have already some skills, then update your LinkedIn profile with those skills and with those keywords. Okay, after this, LinkedIn can make a better match and it will suggest you better job positions. Then connecting with other students. See, it is also very important. In a college, in a huge college like JIT, there are 4,500 students. Okay, you don't know everyone here, but you also don't know who will be helpful to you in future. So it is better that you connect to other students also, right? And make a good relation, try to help them. If they ask, you can also help them. The next is landing international jobs. Now due to pandemic, you know that most of the companies are working remotely. Okay, so that's why there are no country boundaries now. Okay, still many people they work remotely here in India, so you can get international offers based on your profile. Okay, now this is very important point. These two points are very important. Empty profiles with just connections are of no use. Okay. And next is use these platforms to showcase your work to the world. Note here that your work matters a lot. Okay. First is your work. Next is updating or showcasing your work to the world. If you don't have any work, then you can't just go to these platforms and post anything. Okay, it will be of no use. Okay, first do the projects, then go to these accounts, then post it. Now here I would like to make one more important statement, and it is an important guideline to all of you, that many people are pursuing courses and attending workshops. Okay, I am seeing that at least in this pandemic period, few people have at least done around 10 to 20 courses, and they might have also done some projects also, okay, on Coursera. And some people are also doing some courses on Udemy. Okay, there is no point in posting those kinds of certificates on LinkedIn. Okay, it doesn't showcase anything. Instead, you do just one or two projects for a real customer. Okay, collect their requirements, develop that project and deploy it, and if they are successfully using it, ask them to write a recommendation. Okay, so this process, this experience matters a lot. Even if you have got one or two projects where you have worked for real customer, then that has got a huge value. I'm not saying that you should not do these courses. I'm saying that be selective in these courses. Okay, do such courses which people respect. Okay, if you post a certificate, then people should say that, or the people who are working in industry should say that yes, that's a great achievement. Okay, so in that way you should build your profile. But as I have told, work means it is end to end work, right? A real work which you develop or which you do for some real customer. Okay, there is a problem in the society, you pick that problem, solve it, right, for a particular customer or even for an organization. Okay, even for a professor or even for a college, it's fine. Okay, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are solving a real world problem and you know how to solve that problem from the ground up and how to deploy it on the client side. If you know this entire process, right, even if you have few projects in your account, this will give you better opportunities and you will be more confident about your projects in the interviews. Okay, so this is a very important point. So first, what matters is your work. Okay, then showcase it to the world in these platforms. People will definitely notice you, people will definitely notice your achievements, and they will definitely contact you. You will definitely get the opportunities. It may take some time, but be sure that you will get the opportunities. So this is about few guidelines about GitHub and LinkedIn profiles. I will address the questions at the end, uh, but using these guidelines you have to build GitHub profile and LinkedIn profile. So best profiles will be awarded a book coupons. So I think there are 3 prizes for third semester and 3 prizes for fifth semester. So 6 prizes are there. Okay, separately. But what I am suggesting here is that just for a prize, don't fill up the content in your LinkedIn or GitHub profile. Whatever you have, be honest, just post it there. Okay, just create your profiles. Okay, if those who have already done the projects, of course they will be having an advantage, right? So there is no point, or don't dishearten, right? If you're not getting a prize, that's absolutely fine, but don't put some junk content or fake content in your LinkedIn profile or even in GitHub profile. So be honest, whatever is there, it's there. Okay, so based on that you can start improving it. Okay, so that should be your goal. But those who are not having these accounts, create these accounts. I have already told you the benefits, and it will definitely benefit you when you reach to the placements or after your graduation. Okay, and one more important thing, whenever you are updating your LinkedIn profile, let's say for example you are mentioning the college name, then what you should do is you should check the official LinkedIn page of the college, and whatever name is mentioned, the same thing exactly you have to mention in your profile. Okay, even when you're, let's assume that you're working in a company, right, then you should visit their official LinkedIn page and mention the name as it is. Okay, say it has got a lot of benefits. So using this, what happens is you will be able to connect to the people who are alumni of a particular institute. Say for example, if you are mentioning our college name, then you should mention KLS Gokte Institute of Technology Belagavi. Okay, when everyone mentions that, LinkedIn groups those people. Okay, so we will get a statistic, and it will also suggest you some connections. But if you mention KLS GIT instead of KLS Gokte Institute of Technology Belagavi, these will be treated as two different organizations, and you may miss to connect with some people. Okay, so that's a problem. So mention the official names of the institutes which are mentioned in their official pages in your profile, so that will help you to connect with the genuine people of that organization. Then next important point is about Computer Society of India student branch. So Computer Society of India is the first and the largest body of computer professionals in India. It was started on 6th March 1965 by a few computer professionals, and has now grown to be national body representing computer professionals. So note here that it has got 72 chapters. These are professional chapters, and 511 student branches. So GIT's CSE department also has the CSI student branch. Note here that when we say student branch, it is not a department specific professional body. Okay, any person in a college can become a member of these student branches. Okay, so for CSI at GIT, any person from any branch can become a member, but there are some fees prescribed by Computer Society of India, so they need to pay those fees are not much. I think it is 1100 for 4 years membership. If you want 1 year membership, I think the cost is 350 rupees. So exact amount will be, and the procedure will be notified by your staff coordinators, Rashmi madam and RS Patil sir. So try to become member of these professional societies. So I will tell you the benefits also. Then next, so through the initiatives of Professor Rangaswamy Narasimhan, the first president of CSI, it is in close liaison with International Federation for the Information Processing Society. So since its inception in 1965. Now if you want to know the more information, then you can visit the website which I have mentioned in this slide, that is csi-india.org. Note here that this website is still under construction. They are revamping the website, so some links may not work. But if you want more information, you can contact Rashmi madam or myself or even RS Patel sir. Then about CSS student branch at GIT. Now note here that the CSS student branch at GIT was founded in the year 2007. Okay, and it evolved into a platform that caters to the overall professional development of its student members. The student branch has gained in steps and has been working continuously in enhancing the technical and communication skills of the students. Now under CSS student branch, we have been conducting regular activities, but it was not active since last 2 to 3 years. Okay, because there were some issues at the national level. So now all those have been sorted out. So again, we would like to restart all the activities. Now CSI student branch at JIT has got recognition at the national level. So some awards and recognitions have been mentioned on this slide. So CSI chapters have been divided into regions. So we come under region 5. Karnataka and Kerala come under region 5. Now our student branch, that is CSI student branch at GIT, had won the best student branch award in region 5 for the year 2010, 12 and 13 three times. Then it has been awarded the best compliance student branch award in region 5 for the year 2011 and 12. Then there were two students, Sachin Bhatt and Karthik Verma. They have been awarded the most committed student branch activist award in the year 2011 and 2013. Now if you become a member of CSI, then you have the chance, you have the opportunity to lead this chapter. Okay, you can become a president, you can become a treasurer, you can become a secretary, you can become even a volunteer. Okay, so the most committed student, most active student will be recommended by student branch at JIT for this award at the national level. Okay, now the most important things which we do in CSI student branch is the Genesis, which we conduct every year. So since last few years it has been a part of Avalanche, but initially it was a separate event and we had conducted it as a national level event and as a state level event. Okay, so let's say just before 5 to 6 years ago, when we had conducted Genesis, we had received around 600 to 700 registrations across state. So 8 versions have been conducted. So under Genesis, activities like technical paper presentation, debate, quiz, project exhibition, such kinds of events were conducted. Even the hackathon was conducted. But now it is part of Avalanche, and it is restricted only to GIT students. The next is the Locus newsletter. So it's an annual newsletter of GIT student branch. So you can go to our CSE department website and you can see the links there. On the left hand side we have few links of Locus newsletter. So you have the opportunity to write the articles for this Locus newsletter and get it published. Okay, so if you publish your article in Locus newsletter, you will get an appreciation letter from CSI student branch coordinator. Then last time we had conducted FOSCON India 2019, it was a great success. So in the history of GIT, we had got 25 plus speakers at a time, right? And it was a great event with around 175 plus registrations. So this time also we are planning, but this time we are planning FOSCON India 2020 virtual. Okay, so for that we need your help. And if you have got any other idea to conduct any other technical events or any other events under CSI, we have got a great budget. So what I suggest or what I request is, or my sincere appeal to all of you is, please become a member of CSS student branch, and again make it active and help us in getting national level awards again. And note here that every year we participate in state level conventions and also the national level conventions, and always always the participation is sponsored by the college. Okay, so you did not have to you do not have a feeling that you are paying a registration fees but where it is going. So some part will go to CSI, where the CSI national body is conducting several events. It is also coming up with a magazine. You will get the e-copy of magazine when you become a CSI member. It is also giving travel grants to students. It is also giving research grants to students. So there your some part of membership fee will go, and remaining membership fee will help us to conduct events at our college. So apart from that, we also have a funding from college. You make a request for a particular event. If you have any speaker in mind, if you want to get that person here, then there is a funding here. So but it is only possible when we have sufficient number of members. We need minimum 75 members, 75 student members, to make our CSS student branch active again. So if you have got any questions, you can post it in YouTube. So I will read the comments and I will take up the questions one by one. So we can have 10 minutes for question answer. So if you have got any questions, you can post it in YouTube, or if you have my WhatsApp number, you can WhatsApp me. I can take up questions from there as well. Yeah, so Anish Chaudhary is asking a question: should we post technical activities attended in volunteer experience section in LinkedIn? See, volunteer is something different. When you are saying that it is technical activities attended, it may be a participation. Okay, so volunteer means you have helped in organizing that event. Okay, and volunteer experience does not only mean technical activities, it can also be other activities. I hope I'm clear. So volunteer experience means you are helping in organizing the event, organizing a seminar or organizing a workshop. If there's a workshop going on, then you might have worked as a instructor there or helper there in debugging the errors, or you are assisting a speaker. So that is counted as volunteer experience. Hackathon means you are developing a project, you can include it in a project. And when you are mentioning your educational details, there is a section called as activities. There you can mention. that you are winner of hackathon. And I think there is a section called as awards and achievements. There also you can mention. Okay, next question. If anybody else, if anyone has any other question, then they can post here. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ್ರಿ. So I will wait for 2 more minutes. If you have got any questions, you can post it on YouTube, otherwise you can message me. I think there are no questions, so this video will be uploaded on YouTube after we edit this. So we may have to crop some part at the end and some part at the beginning. So once the editing has been done, it will be uploaded on YouTube, maybe by tomorrow evening or Thursday morning. So after that you will be able to access this video from YouTube. Thank you everyone for attending the talk. So now I will hand over the session to R.S. Patil sir.
Good evening students. So I came here to make a small announcement. As we told regarding this session, there will be a competition which is going to be held to create the best profiles. So we'll give 3 days time to all the registered participants to create LinkedIn as well as GitHub profiles. And afterwards, most probably by Saturday, we'll provide a Google Form link where you are going to send us your the created profiles. So all those profiles will be evaluated by the 2 experts. Based on the experts comments, we are going to announce the book coupon prizes. Okay, so this is the one announcement what I wanted to tell you all people. And as being a CSI staff coordinator, it gives me immense pleasure to propose a word of thanks also On behalf of KLS Management, Principal Sir Jayant Kittur, HOD CSE Dr. Raj Purohit, I place on a record to thank Professor Gajendra Deshpande for enlightening on how to manage LinkedIn and GitHub profiles to make it visible across the globe. I also thank our beloved HOD Dr. Raj Purohit sir in encouraging us to conduct this hands-on session. I also thank Rashmi J, ACSI staff coordinator for valuable suggestion to organize this particular session. I also thank all teaching as well as non-teaching staff who directly, indirectly helped me to organize this particular hands-on session. I also thank our student Varan Joshi, 5th semester CSE, who has tremendously worked behind the scene to organize this session. I also thank all the student participants for making this session a grand success. Thank you, one and all.